All right, we're continuing along with 7.3 here. We're going to get through this lesson. We're down here on example 3. This is just practice using your calculator, okay? So for these questions here, angle A is going to be equal, you're going to write on your calculator sine the exponent of -1. That's what you'll write on your calculator, okay? And you should get an answer there. I've lost my solutions. Give me 1 second. You can either like type it out 1 divided by 3 and it'll go over 3 depending on your calculator, or you can do brackets 1 over 3. So you could do angle X here is equal to sine -1. You could do brackets 1 divided by 3 like that on your calculator. Does it work? You should get an answer of 19 degrees. All right, we're going to finish these off. Cos B, you're going to type this on your calculator. I'm not sure why people are talking. Why are you talking, Adrian? You showing him how to use his calculator?
So what's the angle?
The answer is the angle. So 37, the angle B.
The other way around.
Angle X.
4, 5, like 4, 5. What does that represent in like the triangle?
It represents the ratio of the adjacent side over the hypotenuse,
Okay.
right? Because cos, right? We know from SOHCAHTOA that if we're dealing with cos, we're dealing with the adjacent over the hypotenuse.
All grade 11 classes.
Okay.
Please make a written-
Tan is the opposite over adjacent, so angle G is going to be equal to tan -1, 3 over 7. Angle G is equal to what? Anybody have it? 23? Okay. You guys can do the rest there. Any questions on how to solve these? Yeah.
It doesn't let me, when I put on my calculator, it says error for the last 3.
I can do G, that's the only one I can't do.
These ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about why. All right. So the reason why this is an error is because sine represents what? Opposite over hypotenuse, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you ever have a number greater than 1 in a triangle like this? You can never have a ratio greater than 1 because the opposite side can never be bigger than the hypotenuse side. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because we know in a right angle triangle, the hypotenuse is the longest side.
Yeah.
Okay? So this ratio here for sine can never be greater than 1. Never. Okay? So the most, before you get an error on your calculator, the most you could do would be sine 1. And it should give you 90. And that's a 90-degree angle. That's the same as the hypotenuse. Okay? So if you have a 90-degree angle in a right angle triangle, it's basically a straight line. So you're going to get 1. The opposite side is the same length as the hypotenuse. You can never have the opposite side larger than the hypotenuse, so you're going to get an error here. Okay? Cos, can you have an adjacent side bigger than the hypotenuse? No, because adjacent cannot be bigger than a hypotenuse. By definition, a hypotenuse has to be the largest side. Okay? So that's why this is an error. Okay? Now with tan, it's the one type of sign here that we can have greater than 1, because the opposite side can be less than or greater than the adjacent side. Does that make sense to an angle? You guys understand that? Why tan allows it? Because, okay, here we have your standard right angle triangle, okay? If we are talking about this angle here, x, right, and let's say this is 5 and this is 7, okay, we can have tan x is equal to opposite over adjacent 5 over 7, okay, which is a decimal. But we can also have, if this is angle y, we can have, I'll write it up here, tan y is equal to 7 over 5. All right, so you can have a greater than 1 value for tan. And that you have to understand what these ratios mean, right? What is sine? It's the opposite side over the hypotenuse. What is cosine? It's the adjacent side over hypotenuse. Okay, you have to understand that. So note, sine and cosine ratios must always between 0 and 1 and 0 and -1. Now we can go to -1 because you can consider sort of like an upside down triangle like this, where here's your right angle, right? And if you want to consider this is your positive x and this is your y, you can have, let's say, call this theta. Okay.
All grade 10 classes.
You can have a negative value over a negative value like this for theta, or if we say beta here, you can have a positive y value over a negative x value like this, right? If this is our right angle. Okay, so you can have negative values for your sides. Sorry?
She's having
I don't know. You're gonna have to go to the washroom. Okay, any questions there? We're gonna try and get through this last. It's okay if we're a little bit late for the game. We have this last page, right? This is the last page you guys have, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get through this quickly. All right, so it says determine angle B and angle C to the nearest degree using the inverse tangent. Okay, so it wants us to use the tan ratio. Why do we use the tan ratio here? Because we don't know the hypotenuse. Now I know we can find the hypotenuse, but that's a lot of work for us. We have ratios now, so we can do this a lot easier. So angle B is down here. I can use the tan ratio here. So this is our angle B. So tan B is going to be equal to what? Yeah, Rudy. Sorry? Did you say 4? Yeah, 12 over 9. Perfect. 12 over 9. You got opposite over adjacent. That's the tan. Now we just do angle B is equal to tan -1, 12 over 9. That's it, and you'll get the angle. Yeah.
How do you know which side's adjacent and opposite?
Good question. Opposite is, I would advise you guys to do opposite first because it's easiest, right? You just go right across. That's the opposite. And adjacent is not the hypotenuse, but the other side. It's next to. Adjacent means next, okay? You weren't here yesterday, right? Yeah, but we covered this yesterday. You can review the lesson, okay, to find that out. But basically, my advice to you guys, whatever angle you get, go right across to get the opposite side, and then get the hypotenuse, and then you have the adjacent side. It's the third side, okay? Douglas, so you know, this only works with right angle triangles. Okay, so you're always going to have a hypotenuse. What's the answer here?
I got
9? No, it
I got 53.
can't be 9. 50,
I got 53.
53. Okay, it doesn't look like 9 to me, so check again, Andrew.
Last but not least, we got all of our grade 9 classes.
All right, the last one here, angle C, we're going to say tan
Grade 9.
C is equal to, now our opposite side, 9, over the adjacent side, 12. So we get angle C is equal to tan -1, 9 over 12. And what's that? (37 degrees). Tan B here, we're going to go opposite over adjacent. We don't need the hypotenuse. We'll get angle B is equal to tan -1, 16 over 30. What's that? 28. Okay, and what is angle C here? You're going to do tan -1, 30 over 16. Remember, we can have a value over 1. 62? Yeah, Maxis?
Whenever I put it in, like when I do like the tan equal to 1 and 12 over 9, is it like syntax error?
Oh, are you putting brackets?
Yeah. I'm putting tan and then like for the -1.
It's a button. It's the second function tan. You can't put tan exponent -1. You have to put second function tan. It'll give you the...
Oh,
You see it?
okay, I got it now.
Yeah, okay. Last one. Solve the following triangle, rending all sides to one decimal place and angle measures to the nearest degree. To solve the triangle means to solve all missing sides and angles. So we need to find everything here. All right, so we only have one side length and one angle. And we have the other angle here. So actually, if we have two angles, can we get this angle?
Yeah.
What is it? It's going to be 180 minus 90 minus 25, right? Okay, 65. Okay, we have all three angles and one side. So we're going to start with a tan ratio that involves this side. We'll call this B, little b. We'll call this little c. Okay, let's start with a ratio that uses this side. So we're going to use this angle 25 and this side. Okay, and then let's go for the hypotenuse. So we're going to try cosine, right? So cosine 25 degrees is going to be equal to our adjacent side, which is 250, over the hypotenuse C. Okay? Any questions how I developed that formula? It's easy stuff, guys. This is easier than the last chapter. If you do your homework, you're going to find this stuff easy, I hope. So now I can cross multiply here. I get C is going, this is over 1, right? C is going to be equal to 250 divided by cos 25. So 250 divided by cos 25. 275.84. That looks about right. It's bigger than the 250. So C is 275.84. Now let's go for B. We can use the same 25, but just use sine this time. Sine 25 is the opposite, which is B, over the hypotenuse now 275.84. So we're going to get B is equal to sine 25 times 275.84, right? What I did here was I multiplied both sides by by 275.84. This cancels and it comes up here. So we get sine 25 times B is equal to 116.58. Okay? So now we have C, we have B, we have this unknown angle, we have all the angles and all the sides. Any questions here? Yeah.
How do you know like when to use cosine sine?
You use it depends on what variables are given. So the beginning was really the one that I had to decide, right? Because I don't have information. I used not sine of 25 because I didn't know the opposite and I didn't know the hypotenuse. I had to use cos because I only knew the adjacent. You understand?
How do you use adjacent but not opposite?
Because opposite, we didn't know the value of opposite. If I tried to use sine on the 25 at the beginning, I would have got this. Do you understand? Right? Two unknowns, I can't solve it. I could have used sine on the 65, that would have worked. I could have said opposite is 250 over hypotenuse C. I could have done that. Okay? Or I could have used tan. I could have used tan on the 25 and said tan 25 is equal to B over 250. I could have done that as well. Right? Because as long as I use the 250, I can solve. Any other questions? Yeah?
How do you write that like tan 25 is sine?
How do you write it on your calculator? You just do this, like tan sine 25. Like that. Okay, you have a button. And then to solve for the angle, like on these questions here, you have to do sine -1, right? So it's over here. This button, you have to press second function sine, and then you'll get the sine -1. Okay, that's what we were explaining to Maxwell. Okay? You see that on your calculator? Any other questions?
So now I have like put sine and like split the answer. I get like a whole different answer.
Okay, I'm gonna come look at your possible your calculators in radians. I'm gonna come look at it. Any other questions? Okay, let's go down.